Are you looking for more appropriate solutions to improve the efficiency of your retail, logistics, warehousing, or catering business? From thermal label printers to shipping scales, we sell a variety of products to do just that. Munbin, more choice for your growing business. Visit munbin.com.
We know anxiety doesn't work 9 to 5, so anyone can text Shout anytime. But being there 24/7 takes funding. Click to donate and join the thumb war for mental health.
Cherry Printers are an established printing company that produce quality products at sensible prices. From cash receipts and invoice books to GDPR-compliant, confidential visitor sign-in books, they have it all. For more information, visit cherryprinters.co.uk. Unboxed. Proudly sponsored by Cherry Printers.
Family. They can be there for you through the good times and bad times. You might love spending time with them and have great memories of growing up. They can also be a huge support for your mental health. Family can be there to listen when you need to talk, help you understand your thoughts and what support you need, or spend time with you so that you don't feel alone. But we know that sometimes things with you and your family may not always be easy. Whatever is going on between you and your family, it's okay to talk about it. You are listening to Unboxed with an episode about living at home.
Unboxed
with Finley Ratnet.
Finley Ratnet.
Finley!
Yes, welcome back to Unboxed, a mental health podcast for young people. Now, you probably know by now, but in the second series, it's less about direct mental health problems like the first series, where we're talking about things like anxiety, depression, self-harm, suicidal thoughts, and those sort of things. This series is more about sort of not everyday problems, but issues that most, some or all young people will experience or may experience at some point in their lives. Now, if you are struggling with something in your life, like a situation at school, or with how you are feeling, you may find it helpful to talk to your family. We know that choosing to open up to your family can feel scary, there's no doubt about that, and you might be worried about how they will react. But that's okay. Many people feel like this, and there are things you can do to help you feel more comfortable, like choosing to talk to a family member you trust and someone you feel relaxed with. So I've got a few pieces of advice here, things you could do. I think it's really important to pick a good moment. If possible, try and pick a time when neither of you are busy or distracted or likely to be interrupted. This can help you feel in control of the conversation. And another one is to find an activity you both enjoy. Sometimes it can help to have something else to focus on while you're talking, and it can help you feel more relaxed. This could be, going out for a walk or watching your favourite show. I've said in the last episode and in previous episodes as well that I think these days, and I speak for myself, and I know, friends and other young people I've spoken to in the past would agree with me that talking to parents these days, it's a bit of a taboo sort of thing. I know I find it difficult talking to parents about certain things, and I think parents struggle to understand that. But I think it's just, there's so many pressures laid upon young people these days that talking to our parents is something we find difficult, because we know that in their childhood, social media wasn't around. There wasn't as many pressures on young people back then. And then now we have social media, and I think it's fair to say that parents don't really have as much of an idea around sort of social media that maybe some of us do. And so talking to a parent or someone in your family and sitting down with them, having a conversation about something relating to your mental health can be quite difficult. But I think that piece of advice there, to find something you both enjoy, to sort of not take your mind off of what you're talking about, but as a sort of distraction, so you're not just sat in a quiet room for half an hour. You're actually doing something that you can enjoy whilst you're having that chat. I think that's a really good piece of advice. And another one is to take your time. If you're finding it difficult to explain how you're feeling, you can try writing it down. I mean, it's okay if you don't share everything at once. Obviously, there's no rush. Things come when they're ready. But having small conversations at first can help you feel more comfortable sharing your thoughts over time. I know that's something I've done in the past, because again, that comes back to, the difficulties that some young people might have having those verbal conversations with their parents. And writing it down is something that I've been, counsellors and people in school have told me about before. And I think when you get told, "Oh, why don't you write it down?" It's a bit like, what? Why would I want to write down how I'm feeling? And what good is that gonna? What difference is it gonna make? But I think if you can communicate that way and you can, write your feelings down, because not only does that, if you're going to end up showing that to a parent, not only does it help them understand how you're feeling, writing down your thoughts and seeing them visually, because at the moment all you can do is sort of, feel how you're feeling and react to how you're feeling in your own mind. But if you're writing it down, you can see those thoughts visually, then it may also help you understand yourself and help you understand how you're feeling. But if you feel okay to do so, you can say what you would like help with, such as, bringing someone with you to a GP or a doctor's appointment. If you had a doctor's appointment, that could be just as scary as speaking to anyone. But if there was someone in your family you were close with, then you could bring them with you to that appointment, if that helps. But I think it's also important to try and keep calm. Your family might ask questions that you find upsetting, or they may not react the way you expected, which can be frustrating, because again, that comes down to talking to your parents. And I think that's one of the reasons why young people find it difficult, because they're not sure how their parents are going to react. And with sensitive things like self-harm, for example, if that's how a way you're coping with how you're feeling, if that's going to end up coming out eventually, then you may be wondering, I need to tell them because it's important and they want to know, but how are they going to react? Are they going to react in a supportive way? Are they going to be angry at what I'm doing? But if you are feeling like this and it becomes overwhelming, remove yourself from the situation so you can calm down and gather your thoughts.
A mental health podcast for young people.
Unboxed
With Finley Ratnet.
Finley Ratnet.
Now, we know that sometimes it can feel like your family don't understand what you're going through or how you're feeling. This might be particularly difficult if you have opened up to your family about something you're going through and they haven't reacted in the way you expected or hoped. Again, this goes back to what I was saying just a minute ago, that in an instance or in a situation where, self-harm is involved, if that's how you choose to, if that's a coping method that you use to, cope with how you're feeling, then it may feel like you need to talk to your parents, and you may think, oh yeah, they'd want to know, which they probably would. But again, I think many young people struggle to speak to their parents because they'll be worried about how they're going to react. Are they going to be supportive of it? Are they going to be angry at it? I think that's something that goes around in the heads of young people. But if this happens, remember, it's not your fault. It's likely your family need a bit of time. They might not have realised how you're feeling, and it might have been a shock to them. After some time, if you feel ready to talk about it with them again, you may find they are also more open to discussion and have questions to help them understand how you're feeling. If your family are not supportive, there are, of course, other people that can help you, like your friends, helpline services, or a teacher, or someone else in school you can trust. I promise you there is someone who will listen. And there's also apps you can go to. There's an app that I've used a few times. It's called Me Too, spelled METOO. And it's basically a forum for young people, but it's an app that is, completely moderated by the people who work for the app. And it's where you can, ask questions, type about your day, and other young people can, reply to that post and, give you support. And it's all anonymous. You get given a random anonymous username. Some of them are a bit weird, but, it's good. But we know that there can be times that are really difficult with family. No family is perfect, and it's common for families to have their ups and downs. There are lots of different reasons why you might be struggling with family. It could be things like, family arguments. You might have different opinions on topics, or you might be getting caught in the middle of family arguments. And it might include things like arguing and not getting along with your siblings or step-siblings. Now, it may also include changes in your family. This can be things like a family member moving out, your parents separating or getting a divorce. And that's something we'll move on to in another episode where I'll focus on, divorced parents and managing that and the pressure that can come from that. A parent, could be changing job and not being around as much, which can be unexpected and upsetting. But it's very normal that change in your family will affect how you think and feel. You might feel lonely because you're not seeing a family member as much, or you might be worried about reaching out for help because you don't want to be a burden when things are already tough. But it is okay if you are struggling and you need support.
Finley Ratnet.
Unboxed.
Now, if you're finding it tough to get along with your family, it can make you feel lonely, anxious, overwhelmed, or angry. If you feel like this, that's okay. No two families are the same, but every family will have its differences or difficulties. This is completely normal. I've got some things you could do if you're struggling with family. Number one, take time out when you're arguing. If you are arguing, try to remove yourself from the situation. If you feel uncomfortable, or you or your family member are getting angrier, try to walk away if you can. This can help you take a moment to breathe, calm down and think about what you want to say. It can also help the other person to think about how they are feeling, because one of the worst things, and I've, had friends and been in relationships where my partner has been, having difficulties at home, having arguments with parents, and I think one of the things they struggle with is knowing when to take that time out. Obviously, when you're in an argument and you're in that sort of conflict, it's tempting to just, you want to have the final say. You want, what the other person is saying might not be right. You want to make sure they know the truth. You want to put them straight. But I think that's one of the, you got to know when to, give it a break, even if that's, giving it a break and then going back to it and, getting back to what you were saying. Use that time to think about how you're going to say it and how are you going to say it without, causing more conflict, if that makes sense. The next one is set boundaries with your family. Try talking to your family about having time for yourself, or try to agree a time each day for you to have a space away from them. This creates a clear boundary for your family to respect. And the final one, speak to someone outside your family. You might feel like you should rely on just your family for support, but there are lots of other people you can talk to. Try to build a support network of people you trust, like friends, a teacher, or a student counsellor. By talking to someone you trust, they can help you, and you can work together to help yourself find the support that you need.
A mental health podcast for young people.
Unboxed
With Finley Ratness.
Now, thank you very much for listening to this episode. I hope you've got something from it. Living at home is such a huge topic, and like all topics, you could talk about it for hours. There's so many sort of subtopics that come, amongst living at home and, troubles with your family. There's so many different things, but I hope I managed to sort of cover the basics and, give you some advice to help you if you're struggling at home. Now, I did say in the last episode that, at the start of this series, I wanted to get young people involved, but I very quickly realised that that's a hard thing for young people to do, because the aim of this podcast is to encourage young people to have these conversations with friends and family about how they're feeling, about situations that are going on in their lives. But that's not done enough. And without me sort of kickstarting that, without me, trying to build you up to be able to get to that point, how is that going to happen? So that's the point of this series now. I'm going to do it on my own. If you do want to get involved, if you do want to come on and, talk about something that it means something to you, feel free to get in touch. You can email hello@unboxedpodcast.co.uk, or you can text me on WhatsApp. It's 0117 318 2686. All you got to do is add that phone number to your phone contacts. I'll give it to you again in a second. Add it to your phone contacts, go on WhatsApp, find that phone contact and message me. Here's the number again on WhatsApp.
Text us on WhatsApp 0117 318 2686. Hey! Start your message with the word unboxed.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for listening to this episode. Like I said, for more information about living at home and ways you can, cope with any family problems, you can go to unboxedpodcast.org/living at home. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you in the next episode. Thank you.
A mental health podcast for young people.
Unboxed.
With Finley Ratness.
Finley Ratnet.
Finley!